Joining me now is North Carolina Senator Ted Budd. He's a member of the Senate Armed Services, Commerce, Science, Transportation, Health, Education, Labor, Pensions, Small Business, and Entrepreneurship Committees. Senator, thanks very much for being here. Your thoughts on how Thune will be able to work with Trump? Will he be able to work with Trump, and what do you expect to get done?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first thing we have to do is get these nominations approved, and so Trump can have his cabinet and ready to go on day one. Trump's got a mandate. I think the real discussion within the Senate was who can support Trump's agenda the most. And John Thune, he came out on top. My congratulations to him and the whole leadership team who wants to step up and get America back on track.
So President-elect Trump officially nominated Florida Senator Marco Rubio to serve as Secretary of State. He also picked combat veteran Pete Hegseth to serve as the Secretary of Defense. Hegseth served tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, and is a Princeton graduate and earned a master's degree from Harvard. But Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is already dismissing Hegseth. She writes this on X: a Fox and Friends weekend host is not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. I lead the Senate Military Personnel Panel. All three of my brothers served in uniform. I respect every one of our service members. Donald Trump's pick will make us less safe and must be rejected. She completely ignores Pete Hegseth's tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. The Associated Press also writes Trump's decision to nominate Hegseth was met with bewilderment and worry among many in Washington. Some are concerned he does not have the experience to run the department, Senator. Hegseth will appear before the Senate Armed Services Committee for confirmation. How will you vote?
Yeah. So I'm on that. I look forward to the discussion. I really like Pete. I think it's a great pick. And this is about focusing on lethality and ending the woke policies that have hurt our military and have hurt our standing around the world. I think Pete, I mean, he's pro-America. He's served our military. He's a decorated combat veteran. I know him personally. I look forward to having these discussions in the Senate, being on that committee. And we want to get him ready to go day one. But Trump knows what he's doing when he picks these great leaders. So I look forward to having those discussions.
Well, it's a good point. You know, President Trump was questioned on some of his picks, and then they turned out to be great picks. I mean, like J.D. Vance, right? People weren't sure about J.D. Vance. So what do you make of the process here in terms of confirmation? I mean, there were a handful of non-traditional picks from President-elect Trump. You've got Pete Hegseth. You've got Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General pick. You've got Tulsi Gabbard as DNI. How many of do you think all of his nominees will get confirmed, or what? How do you think it plays out?
Well, I can't answer that, but I look forward to the hearings. And again, Trump, he knows what he's doing. He's had 4 intervening years to really think about who he wants around him. Some of the biggest challenges in his first 4 years were the picks. I think he's much better at it now. He knows what the American people want. He knew it then, he knows it now, and he knows who to put around him. And plus, we've got a Senate with 53. I wish there were more, but I'm glad we're in the majority. But we've got 53 votes to work with, and we want to get them ready to go as quickly as possible on day one. And I'm really proud of what President Trump's doing so far.
So what do you think are the easiest things to get done with the majority in the Senate? Walk us through what you think is possible in terms of Trump's agenda.
We got to preserve the tax cuts to preserve our economy. We got to secure our border. We got to confirm judges as quickly as possible, and we have to get his cabinet in place. I think that's the very first thing we have to do. Get them ready to go to support his agenda.
Are you expecting the Democrats to try to jam in their own ideas for judges and whatever they can get through in this next, 90 days?
They always will, but they're having a deeply reflective moment right now to see why they collapsed. And it wasn't about the timing of Kamala versus Biden. It's really about having a lot of bad ideas that have hurt us over the last 4 years. And unless they change those bad ideas, they're going to keep getting worse, and we're going to keep getting better.
Well, the House Oversight Committee holding a hearing on FEMA's hurricane response after a claim that an employee told relief workers to avoid homes supporting Trump in the wake of Hurricane Helene. This is an outrageous story. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell writing this, quote, "This is a clear violation of FEMA's core values and principles to help people regardless of their political affiliation. I want to be clear to all of my employees and the American people, this type of behavior and action will not be tolerated at FEMA, and we will hold people accountable if they violate these standards of conduct." But that employee, Marnell Washington, is now claiming that she wasn't the only FEMA employee who skipped homes with Trump signs out on front, and that her actions were consistent with the guidance from the agency. Fox reached out to FEMA on these allegations. We have not received a response, Senator. But do you know if this impacted hurricane victims in North Carolina?
It absolutely did, and I felt this anecdotally. He's on the ground dozens and dozens of times before the election, and in many communities, and you could feel it. You could feel their concern, saying, "Where is FEMA?" Now they were there in bits and pieces, but with the real evidence that we have now with this whistleblower, we've got to get to the bottom of this. This is very disturbing. In the time of need, we need help from the federal government. These people in Western North Carolina, they don't ask much from the federal government. They're tough people, but when the government doesn't show up in their time of need, it's disturbing. We've got to get to the bottom of it, hold them accountable. And this is going to take years, Maria, to get North Carolina back on track. And that's why we need a builder in the White House. And in the case of Western North Carolina, we need a rebuilder.
All right. Well, this is obviously incredibly disturbing that FEMA would pick and choose who to help. Senator, thank you. We will be watching this. Ted Budd.
Thank you, Maria.
In D.C. Thank you, sir.